Hello and welcome to Union Insider. I'm Dave Leno in for Sage Hurley. Sage is out on the road with the team and will join us later in the show. Here's the rest of what we've got for you over the next 30 minutes. We bring you the story of how a local artist and organization were brought together by the Union's Greener Goals initiative to create something that embodies the players, team, and the city all in one. Plus, later on, my broadcast partner Sebastien Toux joins me on set to break down the Toronto matchup and preview the Columbus game. But before they could concentrate on the crew, the Union had a midweek tussle in Toronto to contend with. BMO Field, certainly never an easy place to go and play, made even tougher by the fact that Toronto came in unbeaten in 5 home games this season, going to this matchup against the Union. Here's how things played out north of the border.
TFC fans not used to watching this. They've most recently been involved in 3-3 and 3-2 matches. This is the bread and butter of Philadelphia. Lukic. Miloski finds a spot! Miloski has indeed found a late first half opener. His second of the season.
And Philadelphia's structure want to push you towards the middle of the pitch. That's exactly where they create chaos. And Lukic, once he wins it, springs Miloski free, and you can see the quality there.
The top, loose ball at the edge of the area. That's dangerous, and it's in! Jean-Jacques forces the issue, and he gets a goal in the process. It's 2-0 for Philadelphia.
And the biggest attacking threat for Philadelphia has often been the shape in the past, and Jean-Jacques is playing a higher position.
Sorio spinning away from Bueno. Cifuentes. Sargent splits some defenders! Wonderful! That's a goal scorer's goal. Josh Sargent has his second as a Red. Running the decoy. Cifuentes for Franklin. Up the post and in! It's level again here in Toronto. Can you believe it? The comeback kids are at it again. Bueno. Flick towards the back post, and they've tucked it in. The header is there for Jean-Jacques. He's got the brace. Philadelphia's got the lead. And will somebody come away with 3 points in the end?
This is exactly what we were talking about, where one bad back pass then puts you under it, and you give away a chance. Just a bad back pass in, and then that sets up this set piece. And how about this from Alejandro Bedoya, the 38-year-old coming to the near post. It is a lovely header, just lofted to the back post, and from there, it's actually Harriel.
It's Harriel. Edge of the box, Cifuentes, a chip shot, flicked on goal! Didn't get the angle, Shallowy. Is there one more from Coelho? Sends it in on his right foot. The flag! They've got it! The keeper has leveled the game at 3!
Seba will join me next segment to break down Wednesday's wild finish in Toronto. But now we've got a story that's too cool not to share. Fans will have the chance to bid on a one-of-one pair of shoes created by Union defender Frankie Westfield, bringing together a local artist and nonprofit. We'll share details of how to bid after the piece. But first, here's a look at how this collaboration came together.
My name is Megan Burns, and I am owner of With an H Shoe Customization Service. I have been customizing shoes for 4 years now, and after a year of going through the trials and tribulations of teaching myself the skills of shoe artistry, I felt that I was ready to share my craft with the world, and in 2022, With an H was born. So the Union provided me with a white shoe as a base, and I was able to source materials from Leveling the Playing Field.
My name is Danielle Miller. I am the Program Director of Leveling the Playing Field in Philadelphia. Leveling the Playing Field is a youth sports nonprofit that collects gently used equipment to then redistribute it to underserved children for free. Our core mission of LPF is to make sure that every child has access to sports and that the cost of equipment is not something that's keeping them on the sidelines.
I feel honored to work with a nonprofit like Leveling the Playing Field. I sourced lac sticks, I sourced baseball gloves, soccer balls, jerseys, cleats, bunch of materials. In the end, my art is embodying their mission to take used materials and give them a second home.
You're fine if I take this off?
Yeah, people rewrap them all the time.
When I was at Leveling the Playing Field, I saw this really cool bat. Didn't want to take the entire bat. I really just, obviously I can't put metal onto a shoe. The whole thing was gold and blue, tying along with the Union colors, so I ripped it off and it came home with me. One of my favorite materials that I worked with on the shoes was actually, I used a banner that was flown on Broad Street by the Union. These 4 sides were customized with the banner. Really tried to incorporate every single color. This is an elastic from a baseball belt, so this is gonna get sewn onto here. And I'm gonna customize that further once I get it sewn on. But yeah, I think this is my favorite part so far. I mean, the banners are really, really cool, knowing that they were flown on Broad Street, but I love the sock and the texture that comes along with the tongue. Once I kind of got a feel with the materials I was working with, the creative gears really started to kick in. Since I'm using such unique materials, every pair is one of a kind.
I cannot wait to show Frankie these and see his reaction.
Frankie,
hello.
I'm Megan.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. So we worked together with Leveling the Playing Field, picked a bunch of used sports materials, and I made you a pair of shoes.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Wow. These are crazy.
So yeah, we got your name on
Deep,
there.
so.
Got the city skyline in like a monochromatic
I didn't see
look.
that.
Yeah, it's in like a monochromatic look. We got 13 stars in the back, just like the logo.
These are fire.
Your number.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, they got your name with it? Wait. Bro, this is fire, bro. I need to get one too.
Nah, these are crazy.
Excellent stuff. Frankie wore those to the Greener Goals theme night last Saturday. All proceeds from the auction will go to the Leveling the Playing Field organization. Now, for those interested in placing a bid, please head over to the team website. That's PhiladelphiaUnion.com. We're heading to break with this week's trivia question presented by United Concordia. The last Union away win against Columbus was back on August 24th, 2016, a 2-1 victory. Who were the goal scorers in that match? Now, a hint for you, one is a German, the other is a barber. The answer comes later in the show. Union Insider is back after this. Welcome back to Union Insider. I'm Dave Leno, now pleased to be joined on set by my broadcast partner on radio, Sebastien. Seba, you and I called the game on Wednesday night, a wild, exhilarating one, ended in a 3-3 draw. What did you make of the matchup in Toronto?
I mean, I think it was 2 points. I think we lost, especially being able to be up by 2 goals. Starting the second half and then scoring the third one right before the end of the game, and at the end the really heartbreaking goal by the goalkeeper of Toronto, who ties the game. I think it was a big chance missed for the team to get another 2 points. So I think the feeling is more disappointed to not get the 3 points, but at the end, like you say, we stay undefeated now in 3 games.
No doubt, it certainly was a gut punch that Luka Gavron came up as a set piece, was then recycled. Coelho played one into Gavron, who headed it in for the draw at the death of the game. But I wanted to touch on what happened in the first half, because you and I, calling it on radio, thought that the team came out really strong. Nate and Frankie were getting advanced onto the flanks, and Milani Lasky scored to give the Union a 1-0 lead. What impressed you so much with the way the team started in Toronto?
I think what I like the most about the first half is our pressing. I think we were exactly where we were supposed to be, high up the field, putting pressure on the back line of Toronto, and they lost a lot of ball, into the half, and we were able to then, move forward and get the last goal, of Ilowski at the end of the half, but at the same time, create, some chances, having, like you say, Nathan Ariel and Frankie Westfield, being high up the field, so it's an extra, man to be able to give some crosses, but we maybe didn't as much as shot as we got against DC, but we were here winning the ball, and it's what I like, and I know it's what I think this team is all about when they are successful, is when we are able to do a good pressing on the right timing with everybody on the same page, and I think it was very, very good in the first half.
I want to spotlight the midfield, because you speak of how good that the Union did in half number one. that sort of waned a little bit, right? When Josh Sargent gets the goal, and then they get 2 goals in a span of 8 minutes, that the Union dropped a little bit. In the midfield, though, Lukic got the assist to Olaski. Bueno starts yet again, and Bradley Carnell deploys Danley as another 10 next to Indy Vasiliev. What did you make of that midfield trio, speaking of Danley, Lukic, and Bueno on Wednesday?
I mean, I think for Bradley Carnell it was pretty much more a defensive choice, knowing that Danley is usually, one of the center midfield for the Union, but having him on the right give a bit more, I think, safety defensively, knowing that Laria, the left back of Toronto, is usually, push forward a lot. So having Danley on his side was putting a bit more pressure, be able to recover as well. And when, we needed Danley to be more in a center part of the field, he was able to be here as well to win the ball. So then, like you say, I think the first half compared to the second half, we were a little bit not as good, I think, in our pressing when we decided to go high. Toronto had a bit more time on the ball when we drop as well, and not able, to kind of pick our men, as Sargent especially, as a number 9, didn't do much in the first half, but in the second half he was really, able to get the ball, turn at the defense, and create, some danger in the box of the Union. So it was, kind of 2 different halves, but hopefully we can have a full game, in Columbus.
Yeah, it was nice to see the Union get up to a 2-goal advantage that evaporated. We'll see how they respond for the next matchup. Now time for our keys to the game presented by Subaru. Seba, you got 2 things to key on for the Union's matchup tomorrow against Columbus.
Yeah, and first it's going to be for the defense. I think we need our back line, especially the back 4. Can they win their battle in their own zone? We saw, against Toronto at the end, especially in the second half, it was more, the forward of Toronto who won their battle and scored the goals. I would like to see, more, let's say fight, spirit and being closer and not fouling like we saw maybe at the end of the half, but winning just the physical battle and being on top of their striker. And then offensively, I thought the great job from the striker was great defensively, but I need more from them offensively. I think we need to have them be more dangerous into the box, make some runs and playing with each other. I know Bradley Carnell always emphasizes their great work defensively, especially from Damiani and Iloski, but I would like to see them more impacting the game in the offense, receiving the ball in more, danger area, and hopefully, being on the score sheet always in Columbus.
Hey, you speak of transition. Transition defense for the Union has been an Achilles heel. In particular, you and I have called so many Columbus games. Rossi, Daniel Gazdag finally got a goal on Wednesday. It's kind of been a topsy-turvy stint in Columbus for Danny Gazdag, former Union player. They also have Arfston up top, Shambo as well. Mo Farsi is injured, but what I see is the movement off the ball impresses me so much for Columbus. Defensively, how are the Union sound in this matchup there in the Midwest? I
mean, between the back line, I think our 2 number 6 is all about communication. Like you say, there's a lot of movement in this team, a lot of interchange of position between their forward, their midfields. They are popping up, in different pockets. So communication can be good in that game to make sure that we are, really putting pressure at the right time, not having them, turning, facing our defense. It's usually where Columbus is the most dangerous. So I'm really hoping, for this team of the Union against Columbus to pretty much play the same type of first half against Toronto, but the entire game. As soon as, the forward of Columbus got the ball, just put a bit more pressure. Let them, play back. Don't let them face the game and find the easy pass, through the line. When they are good, Columbus is kind of Toronto. They're in a momentum, they are feeling it, and they can really punish you 2-3 times in a row because you are not really stepping at the right time. If we do a good job defensively, we can really, I think, get a result in Columbus.
Yeah, they're under a new manager right now. They're 9th in the Eastern Conference, so we'll see how it goes for the Union at Columbus. Stepping aside for a quick timeout. When we return, I'll be joined by Sage Hurley, who's been traveling with the team all this week to get the latest ahead of tomorrow's match. Union Insider, presented by Independence Blue Cross, returns after this. Back with this week's Union Update presented by Torque. The Union returned to Subaru Park for a home date against Nashville a week from tomorrow on May 2nd, which will also be Star Wars night at Subaru Park. Always a fun evening. Fans are encouraged to dress up and cosplay. To their heart's delight, Fang also plays his part. Come on out and enjoy the festivities. It's a busy week, not just for the Union, but also for those who cover the team, including our very own Sage Hurley, who's currently with the Boys in Blue on this week-long road trip. I caught up with her on Zoom ahead of this one to assess where things stand ahead of tomorrow's match.
Sage, you're on the week-long trip with the Union from Toronto to Columbus. Shed some behind-the-scenes details. What's it like traveling with the team as you often do all year?
Hey Dave, first, thanks for holding it down in the studio while I'm out here on the road with the team. But with back-to-back games away in quick succession like the team has this week, the club has the option to make it one long trip instead of coming home for what would be less than 48 hours. This week started with training in Chester on Tuesday, then the group flew to Toronto on Tuesday afternoon, picked up a point against Toronto on Wednesday night, flew to Columbus early Thursday morning, then trained Thursday evening and Friday afternoon in Ohio in preparation for Saturday's match. It's super busy, there's a ton of travel and a lot of moving parts, so I'd be remiss if I didn't give some credit to the team's equipment staff, like Brandon Comiskey and Colin Campbell, plus the team admins, Josh Gross and Dan Nolan, for making sure things go smoothly for the entire group. The team really wouldn't be able to make trips like this happen without their hard work. On the team side, while it is a lot of together time, it can be super beneficial in naturally encouraging some bonding off the pitch. What could be something as simple or seemingly insignificant as players going for coffee walks in a new city or going out for a meal can be really important for relationship building within the locker room, which I think only benefits their connections on the pitch.
How about the experience of what Nate Harriel's bringing to that back line, the maturation? He scores in the 89th minute. I was going crazy, as you well know, on radio.
I can only imagine, Dave.
Oh, yes, fist pumping and everything for Air Nate. The Union again scoring on a set piece, getting the contract extension as well this year. What's it like you seeing Nate at training and what he does on match day as well?
Believe it or not, Nate just turned 25 years old on Thursday, still very young. He's a homegrown, like you said, who just earned that major contract extension, and it's really so well deserved. He's grown into such a valuable piece for this club on both ends of the field and in the locker room, and I think Wednesday's match was just a great example of that. From his first half block that likely prevented Toronto from opening the scoring to that late header effort in the box when his team needed it most, his performance really showed what he means to the club on the pitch. But what fans might not see as easily is his impact in the locker room. He's vocal, he cares, he's an ultimate professional for his teammates to look up to, and he's a glue guy on the team. And I think those are all really important attributes that can be just as impactful in a season like this one when things aren't exactly going to plan.
Yeah, and we'll need his leadership in this matchup against Columbus, coming off of the 2-1 win over Galaxy. We'll see our friend Daniel Gazdag, who did score the other night, even though it's been topsy-turvy for Columbus, with Danny Diego Rossi for them up top. Columbus under a new manager, a shaky start to the year. Results have been back and forth. How do you see this going down for the Union at the Crew?
Earning a result on the road isn't easy in Major League Soccer, as we know, but in Bradley Carnell's press conference on Wednesday after the match, he said the result really felt like they lost 2 points there. A goalie goal at the death can be a bit demoralizing, and there were some understandable frustrations after that final whistle. But to me, frustration is far better than complacency, and I think if the team turns that disappointment into fuel for Saturday's match against a Columbus side that hasn't been consistent at all this year, I think they could very easily squeeze a point and maybe even 3 from the final stop in their road trip.
Yeah, maybe some rotation in the game, right, Sage? A little bit of direct play over the top to our forwards. I know you'll do all the reporting, be the eyes and ears of all Union fandom out there in Columbus. Keep up the great work you do all season long. Let's come back home with 3 points.
Thanks, Dave.
One more hydration break to sneak in. We'll work a little World Cup chatter into our final whistle discussion. That's next. You're watching Union Insider, presented by Independence Blue Cross. We're back with the answer to this week's trivia question presented by United Concordia. Earlier, we asked you the last Union away win against Columbus was August 24th, 2016, a 2-1 win. Who were the goal scorers in that match? The answer, Fabian Herbers, the German, and Keegan Rosenberry, the Barber. Miss those guys. Time for this week's final whistle discussion, presented by Allstate. For this week's topic, Seba, what are you most excited for about the World Cup? And I like to think I know where you're going with this one.
I mean, I'm pretty excited, being from France, that the French team is going to play, in Philadelphia on June 22nd. I will be at the game. I already got my tickets, so pretty excited to see them playing live in the best competition in soccer. But other than that, just excited, overall for a month of soccer, a month of excitement, and just having, everybody from around the world, from the US, being together and just cheering for your team and even the team of your friend. It's just a great time to be together, and hopefully it'll be a lot of good memories.
And it could be France-Germany for a round of 16 game in Philly on July 4th. We'll see. That will do it for this edition of Union Insider. The boys in blue are back in action tomorrow night at 7:30 against Columbus Crew on Apple TV. I'll have the radio call with my partner Shannon Williams for that one on 97.5 HD2 and the 97.5 The Fanatic app. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and have a great night.